This is Dayna Himot, and I'm coming to you live from Denver Comic-Con 2017, and it's a huge honor to be up at the Media Center, sitting in the interview room with Sue Duff. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I think I'm good. I literally just walked in. The line was out the door and then some. How about you? How long did you have to wait to get in?
Oh, well, being a panelist and a guest author and everything here, I got to kind of walk in.
Well, that's cool. We actually did get to walk in the sense that we just went around the line and then we found the media area. So that was really cool. This is not your first Comic-Con.
No. In fact, this is my fourth Comic-Con here, and I love Denver Comic-Con. It's always exciting. There's people everywhere, and the costumes are just out of this world. Yeah, it's fun. A lot of fun.
Have you seen one particular costume this morning that stands out?
Oh gosh, not one. I mean, there was one that was Rorschach from the Watchmen, and I swear his mouth was changing like it did in the movie. And my booth mate and I were sitting there trying to figure out how that could possibly have happened. But yeah, that just blew us away, that one.
It sounds like you've been Comic-Con.
Oh, yes.
Already early in the game. So have you ever dressed up while you're here?
I don't, because I'm running around so much that I've got to stay, very comfortable, and comfortable shoes and everything, and I go between interviews to panels to all kinds of stuff, and it just felt like trying to wear a costume was going to be just too limiting and uncomfortable. So
I think that's the same for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of clothing, tell me about your shirt. What's happening?
Oh, well, my shirt I had made up the first year I came, and I just had my first book out in my series, Fade to Black, and I love fluorescent green. I neon green. I just love it. So I had my book cover put on the front of my T-shirt, and I had a lot of family members. They were so excited for me to, have been invited to the con that I had one made up for everyone. So I had like 8-10 family members walking around, and it was great advertisement because on the back it was the Weir Chronicles, and it worked out so well that the next year I had additional ones made up, and I gave them out to people who had 3-day passes, and it was great because what ended up happening was I told them if they got caught wearing it, they would enter a raffle to win some free books, and it was the best advertising in the world. It was so much fun.
I think that's really a positive way to do things as far as interacting with your readers, interacting with your family. Can people still get these T-shirts? Are they limited edition, available anywhere?
Oh, they're all gone, but I can certainly go back to the screen artist and have her make up a few more if people are interested, and just post about it on my website, and I'm happy to do that.
Is that the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, it's the best place for them to connect with me. Either that or on my Facebook site, Sue Duff Writer is my Facebook site, and then SueDuff.com is my website, my writer's website. But it's a lot of fun to be here.
So a lot of our listeners are non-traditional students or people that have had some major life experiences and maybe want to go try something new, maybe scared to try something new. And I understand your story. Basically, you were on bed rest, and that's how you found yourself writing. What would you say to somebody who wants to become an artist, become a writer, do something that is completely opposite of where they've been? How do we do that?
I think it's mainly just doing it and somehow having that passion just ignite in you. I had been writing on and off, just more short stories, analogies, all kinds of things that I had written for years. And it wasn't until I had the skiing accident and, ended up having to turn on a word processor to deal with my boredom that summer. And I love doing it, and this idea just took off, and I started writing this series. But it wasn't until I was a finalist in a writers contest that it was that eye-opening, turning the corner experience for me that I could really go somewhere with this if I wanted it bad enough. And I think that's true for a lot of people. We kind of do things because we enjoy them and there's a passion there, but we're kind of fearful of turning that corner. And rejection and critiquing and everything is a part of that, but it's also a big part of how we learn to just get better or to stand up for our image and our view of what we're doing. So those are the kinds of things people need to hang on to and have that confidence that even if it's different and people are saying, you can't do it, you still can, you just need to have that passion really ignite in you.
How much does your personal belief system play into what you write?
Oh, I think you can't help but to write what you know. And whether or not you have that in an outward way or an inward way or, even just simply subconscious way, I think you're going to write about what you know and what you enjoy. With me, I get my best ideas when I'm sleeping. Yeah, I have friends who say they get their best inspiration when they're in the shower. I think the more relaxed you are and you don't force it, it will come if you have that creativity about yourself. And with me, I can be stuck on just this, I've gotten my characters in this corner. I don't know how they're going to possibly get out of this scenario in a believable way. And I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up with being able to write the next 3 chapters because it all came to me and it's there. So yeah, I think that a part of you comes out in everything that you do.
As far as what's coming next, what is coming next for you? Talk to me about after Comic-Con, what's the most exciting thing for you as a writer to talk about what is happening for Sue Duff?
Right now, I'm just finishing up this 5-book series, and I have such bittersweet feelings about it because I've spent the last few years with these characters in this world that I've created, and I kind of like hanging out with them. And so, that's going to be hard to say goodbye to a lot of them, but at the same time, I'm anxious to get closure on this whole story and the bigger arc of this series. For the readers and for the fans. And if they still show a lot of interest, I can always do little vignettes or, just post some simple little things here and there to keep the stories alive. But I've got like 3 other ideas for new series just popping around in my head, but I've had to kind of ignore that because I'm so afraid that if I focus on the new ideas, I won't give the last book the energy that it needs to get that written out right. So I've kind of put that aside, but I'm sure those will be popping back up as strong as ever once the 5th book is in the hands of my copy editor and formatted and all ready to be posted and go live.
I've interviewed one poet who says she keeps a notepad next to her bed for when she wakes up. She has the same kind of thing where she falls asleep and something happens. Any secret, anything you do that's a little quirky that might help other people who are maybe blocked and what they can do to help themselves get out of a block when they're writing?
Whenever I have kind of a block, it's usually because I've started in a vein of the story that's not working. And if it's not working for me, it's not going to work for the story or for the readers. So sometimes you have to walk away for a little bit and allow that, frustration to just dissipate and get back into, okay, where did I really want this to go? And starting on that new fork and kind of backtracking and figuring out where did I get on the wrong, path for this storyline and just reworking it and being, the old-fashioned way of crumpling up that sheet of paper and tossing it in the trash, it isn't as obvious and visible to us with word processors nowadays, but sometimes you do have to just kind of let those chapters or that last chapter or whatever go and be willing to backtrack to the point where, wow, it was working so well up to this point, and then go from there.
And one last question. How many words do you write a day?
I am not that kind of a writer. I can't write every single day unless I'm focused on a book. And my day job is I'm a speech therapist in a school district. And so that's what's wonderful is that when I hit summer, that's my real intense writing time. And the good thing about it is I have these self-imposed deadlines, and I do that by contacting my editor, my copy editor, everybody, and it's like, okay, I'm going to have the book to you by this date. And so I get on their schedules, and then that forces me to just say, I will do this. But I can't write so many pages or words per day. I just do it when I'm the most motivated, and I've discovered that I write best in the morning. And by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I fizzle out, and I can't just sit anymore. So I do other things, and then I come back the next morning. I wake up refreshed, usually with ideas about what I should be writing that morning. But for me, I'm not a plotter. So I'm more of a pantser, and so I sit down and I just start writing, and somehow the stories tend to write themselves. And the flow, and it just flows out like I'm reading my own book, and living that life with the characters by doing that. I've tried plotting, I've tried sticking those sticky notes and up on a storyboard and moving them around and thinking, and it feels like I stifle my story when I do that. It just is much more fresh and unique if I sit down and just start typing. So
Sounds like the Colorado lifestyle between skiing and gardening and all the things that you like to do, and with the speech pathology and things like that. That's a really amazing thing. There's so many students need that on so many levels. So you start them young and then you give them books for when they're older. So once again, I'm Dayna Himot, and on behalf of Met Radio and Met Media at Metropolitan State University of Denver, Colorado, I just want to thank you for your time today.
thank you so much. This has been great.
Awesome. All right. Bye.